So hey guys, welcome back in Coding Bangla YT, and in this video we are going to learn how you can basically use the Epic Online service for our Unreal Engine for creating a multiplayer game. Yes, you are hearing the right one. We are going to create a multiplayer game with visual scripting or the development code of Unreal Engine. So currently I am using the Unreal Engine 4.27.1. Okay, now let's get started. So first of all, you need to go www.epic or dev.epicgame.com. so here, or you can also search that Epic Online service and you find this page. So at here you need to just log in with your accounts. Once you log in, you need to just go to your developer portal. So it will be basically launch you in your developer where you can create basically your server. Okay, yeah. At this time, let's go to Unreal Engine and let's create a third-person template, and let's set it to desktop console, and we can give it name anything, like anything. So in my case, let me give it online US, or online US. I think it's will look good. Then click on create the project. Okay, at this time let's create a product at here. So as you can see, for creating a product in Epic Developer Portal, you need to click on here that create a product. Then you can set your server or product name. Let's give it that online online US. Sorry, my keyboard is okay. So here you can see your custom web URL. So then click on next, and then you can upload an image if you want. For now, let's click on skip. So as you can see, our product is ready. Now we need to set up some. So you need to go basically to product settings. So as you can see, there's some option is not available, that is client and application. There's also we need application ID and client central client security key. So for enable this thing, we need to go at, as you can see, it's in a live. So let's go to development. So at development, as you can see, it's now active. Now we need to go to central. Okay, so at central we need to add a central. So at central we can give anything. Let's give it name online, and then we can click on add a new center policy. So let's give it that online, and then we'll be set it P2P trusted server game center custom. Okay, you can set it anything. Let's give it a custom, and here as you can see, use the requirements. So here check in the login executed action with the policies. You can agreement this thing, or it will be don't need anything. So however, then click on achievement, and at here you can enable everything. Then leaderboards, and as you can see, here's a lobby. So as you can see, for applying this condition, so we must need to accept this policy so we can get everything access. So unlocked leaders, lobbies, we need to connect real lobbies, find lobbies and user ID. Basically we want everything. So here's the for matchmaking, send, join, so manage the players, create section, read section and other stuff. So you can enable this stuff. Let's give it a player storage. For now we don't need, but let's give it that enable. So file, so basically we can save our user data also at here, so it will be very nice. So overall now it's done. So click on save and exit. Server center is now ready. So as you can see, it's automatically come at here, so you don't need to give anything at here. So just click on saved. So as you can see, our center has been added. Now let's go to general. So as you can see, it's automatically come, but the application ID doesn't come. So we need to enable the Epic login. So yeah, you need to also enable the Epic login. So basically you can go to Epic accounts. So like at here, that Epic account. So as you can see, brand permission and linked. So let's click on brand setting. So as you can see, that is an online website, so you can give it that. So permission, so will be online presence, friends, and click on saved. Okay, so then the link in. So if you click on online and click on saved. Okay, now let's see that whatsoever policies, you can set anything of your website, recognize the organization. For now let's give it that because we don't want right now. Okay, let's come back. So as you can see, permission and center is now ready. Now if you go to product settings, so as you can see, everything is unlocked for us what we need. Now let's go to basically our project has been open. What for now, first of all, what you need to do, basically go to settings and plugins. At here you need to search that EOS. So currently I have a $98 plugins also, but I don't want to use for this video. I will use the Unreal Engine free, that online subsystem EOS, that is for Epic Online Service. Click on enable and click on yes. And also one more thing you need to enable, that is REP that is replication graph. Okay, make sure that is enabled, and once it's done, click on restart the project. Now it will be add some plugins in your project.us, so we can basically add this stuff directly into our Unreal Engine without any SDKs or NDKs, okay, whatever. Okay, now we'll be go to settings / project settings. Now let me open. Okay, so if you just go to scroll down, you can see that here's the online subsystem that EOS has been enabled. So as you can see, there's everything has been come. So we need to click on this pin and then click on this position, and here we can now add central ID, security, product, sandbox, development, and a key. Okay, that is not so much important, but if you are publishing your game in online, so you need to just make sure that you add your key. However, let's enable all this stuff because we are going to use everything. Also the show share overlay, enable show share overlay, but here you don't need to click this on require being launching by Epic Game Store. You don't need to click this thing, and at default name you can set it at online, whatever you think. You can add the online, that's the same name at here. And online. Okay, now you need to add your central ID. So for the best way is just make like this thing and just drag your drop at here. So now it will be easy to navigate. So here's your product, first of all central ID. So here's our central ID, paste it here. Then we need the central security code, just paste it here. Then we need the product ID. So here's our product ID, just paste at here. Then we need that sandbox ID. Here's our sandbox ID, paste it here. Then we need the development ID, and why is that? Here, at the last you find the development ID and simply paste it here. Okay, everything as you can see it's not done, so we can go to now in a full screen. So there's no problem. Okay, so everything is done. We can now save. Once you save that, you can restart your Unreal Engine again. Don't worry, it's just a restart, nothing else. Okay, so it will be can get me all the data now in the their default RNC. So here's our project, just click on open. Okay, now we are going to create we are going to use the blueprint and create a match section and matchmaking and other stuff. Okay, so for that we'll be use a user interface, so that is UI, and then I connected this UI with my player. Don't try to connect it this if you're creating a multiplayer game, don't try to connect it with your open level class or something else with your map data. Try to always use with your character data or your game mode. So now let's click on create widget. So here's our create widget. Now we'll be connected our UI, and if you want you can get a reference. So let's give it that UI ref, so for future use. That's why from that we'll be use that add to viewport. So now basically our UI connected with our player. So whenever our player will be launched, we can see our UI. So now at our UI, let's add a button, and this button will be for create the section or create our basically the match. If you don't find any match, so it will be create a match for us. Okay, let's give it a red color, or you can check anything. Wow, there's a nice color available. Okay, I think for now that is good for now. Okay, at the text we can give it that see create as you know that my English is totally super bad, that's why the DAC space is not working. Create section, so that is for our create section. That first one is create section. Then we need one more for find the section. Okay, that is basically the finding match. So at here will we use that find section, and last one will be used that for if you because if it's find, so it's can be find and join. So also, so let's give it that join, find and join. As you can see, that is I think that will be more good if we use the find and join section. So it will be look more good for easy to understand that this is section for find and join. If it successfully find that section, so it will be join. So that the last one is for come out from the section or exit. Exit the section. Okay, so now we have create, find and exit section. Now compile and save. Okay, so for getting any data, so whatever we can see that what is going on. So we'll be use the tags first. Let's give it is a variable, compile and save. So now if there's any error or something information, so it will be visible at here. Okay, now let's go to graph. At the graph, now we need to basically get player controller. Okay, now for first time we'll be create the section. So add on a clicked, Okay, then we'll be use that do once, because we don't want to do anything overlap, that's why. So do once. So this is for create. Let's give it that create section. Okay, let's give it that green. Okay, so now from the do once, it will be what it will be. If you search here that online, you find here that from from online position, you can find the create section, or in a section category you find create, destroy, find. So let's get the create section, then we'll be get that on complete. So at here we'll be connected with our basically with player controller. Now just double pin at here, so it will be look more nice. So that is basically the player controller is mean that at which player we are creating that section for getting that data. So we'll be use that player controller. Then we need a public connection. That is means that how much player on that match. Okay, kind of like this thing that you have a area. Okay, at this area how much player can be basically spawn, like 5 player can play on this map, 6 player or 7 player. So in our case let's give it that 4 player. Okay, then we'll be compile and save. Don't need to use the len. So once it's created, we'll be get our text that successfully the server has been created. So from the text set txt, so that is for text, and let's get a pin. If it's success, so then what will we do? It will be basically say that create section done. Okay, so we will get that value that yeah, the server has been created successfully. Now compile and save. Now let's go to design. Now let's do the main thing, that find and join section. That is the most important part, because if you successfully created that section, but if you can't join that section, what will we do with that? So that's why that is the most important part. So let's give it that join find and join section. Okay, sorry, I'm just forget the section name. Why is that? Section. Okay, so now let's give it the color blue. I like blue. Okay, so will we do the same thing that do once. At here from the do once, we'll be also need again the get player controller, because we want to only specifically join that player who wants to join. We don't want that everyone join that section. Okay, only who click on the join section. Okay, so from that we can search here that section, and we find that find section. Now we'll be connected with our complete. So at here we need the player controller, so we'll basically connected with our player controller. So yeah, it's looking nice. So here that is the maximum search. That just think that there is a 20 player, from the 20 player there are 5 players are creating that section. So there are now 5 section. So we need that 5 section list. That's why there's a maximum result how much list we want. So for now let's give it the 10, maximum 10, or you can also search the same value that 4. Don't need to use the len. Then from this one that result for each loop. Okay, so from that each loop will be connected with our success, and then we have the element of the server data. So because we have the server data, let's promote a variable that will be give it that server data. Okay, or the section data. Section data. Okay, we have now the basically the section data. Now because we have the section data, so we can basically join. So that join section. So basically what should we do? If we successfully found that section, so I'll be basically get the tags that yeah, we found that section. So at here let's give it that before this one, so it will be look more nice, I think. So let's give it like that. For body, don't need to contact with the complete, just give it to loop body, and like that. Okay, so at here let's give that find section. Done, find section done. So then after done delay, 2 seconds, or basically we can give it a 2 seconds after we can basically join the section. Now we need the get player controller. So basically we'll be connected with our get player controller. Let's click on pin at here, so it will be, we can basically adjust that. so it will be look more nice. So now we need the search result. We can get from the section data because we have saved all the data in our database, because this variable now contain that how much player in a server or others etc. So we'll be try to update that in a later, okay, or try to implement in our game later. But for now, that is the important one we are learning, that is creating, joining and leaving section. Okay, so then if it successfully join that section, then we need that here, that joined section done. Okay, that's what we want. Compile and saved. So as you can see that everything is now done, but at here we need to one more thing, that we need to launch them on basically open level class by name. So you find also the reference, but at a reference, so we can give like the third person. Now at here will be set that question mark that listn listen. Okay, make sure you don't forget to add this thing or your server or your section will be not work. Okay, then if it's successfully connected, it will be do like this thing. Now basically connected with like that. So okay, then now everything is quite enough done, guys. So now we last off we need that we can basically leave from that section. So exit that section. So on a click, so we'll be set that exit section. So let's give the color that green. Okay, I think that will look nice, that's why. Okay, so at section, if you search at section list, now you can see that Unreal Engine give you that destroy section, find section. So let's use that destroy section. So we'll be basically connect with this because that is the most easiest way to come from that or come out from this section. That's why I always show you guys most easiest way. So here's a get, we need one more get player controller, and then if it's success, so then we need to come out from this map, this listen server. So let's give it the open level by class, but at here we'll be remove this thing, then we'll connect back in our own server, compile and save. Okay, so then if we successfully come on back in lobby, so it's been that whatever our map it is now correctly, what will we do, it will be basically say that exit section done. Okay, exit section done. Okay guys, our all the system has been ready. Now compile and save. That is the now, as you can see, the most easiest way to create the Unreal Engine online game. Okay, now we need last of thing, that we need to basically get player controller that we can basically control. So from our player will be said that get player controller, not pawn, sorry, that get player controller, and from that will be said that show mouse cursor. So you can basically enable mouse cursor every time. Now saved and compile and saved. Okay, now for testing the game we need to launch that thing. So as you can see, my net mode is not a center server or central, that is a play standard mode. And then let's set it to 2 players, and last we need to click on basically launching in game. You can also use the launching in game. If everything is working 100%, our game will be working online. So as you can see, we have now the 2 player. Let me basically make them small, so basically it will be adjusted in my screen, so you can guys also can see that how the players are working. So as you can see, that is our player number 1, that is player number 2. So let's click on create a section. So as you can see, it's create the section, but that is too fast to create that section. So as you can see, the text is not visible. Let's try to find the join and section. So make sure that find and join section is take some time to basically join. So as you can see, find section done and join section done. So as you can see, we are successfully now joined in our player. So as you can see, we are now in our this player. He can see that player. Okay, that is now working in multiplayer. Yes guys, we are successfully created our game, that a multiplayer game. So it will be working 100%. Okay, so we can do anything. So now if I try to exit that section, so we can click on that exit section. So as you can see, he is now gone. Okay, we are back in our own section. Okay, let's try to find that section. There's any section available or not. If there's any available, it will be say that okay, we can join. So but if already we have that create that section, that's why, so we can again join. basically we can find and join. Let's see. As you can see, finding that section done, joining section, and we are successfully joined. So as you can see, we have. So but there's a simple problem is, if our who created that section, if he's click on exit section, all the game players will become their own lobby. So that is basically a simple problem. I try to fix this problem why, and then I give you some tutorial. So I just hope you understand how to create a multiplayer game with visual scripting with Unreal Engine with using EOS. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and love you all, and bye bye. See you in the next video, guys. Yes, we are successfully done. Find section done. Now we'll be simply join that section. I hope so. Okay, guys. So see you again in next video.